Coming to you live from rural West Virginia, it's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and left, right, high points, low points, left, right, stats, quiz, left, movies within movies, trigger warning, right, nominations, moral of the story, 10-point rating. And that's how you get...
Out of a loss.
Bravo.
Plummeting down a lift shaft with me this week. First, burn him as a witch, it's Christopher.
I'll accept that.
Sunday name, because there's a character called Christopher in this, so I'm assuming this was on your original list.
It was.
And secondly, now is the end of days, and he is the Reaper, it's Andy.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
And they were the two kind of catchiest things I could pick out from the script of Silent Hill. We are the 10 Point Podcast, bringing you all your movie podcast needs for the last, 10 years. How long has it been now? 2 years been at it now, approaching that.
Yeah, no,
you can find us.
Yeah, it will be.
10pointpodcast.com.
And who thought our best ever rated episode would be the number 69?
Is it?
We do all love a number 69, nice. Apparently.
I would say. Forrest Gump, very successful last week. It might be an unattainable high score that we'll never see again. But
speaking of Forrest Gump, I've got a quick correction. Right. It wasn't Rachel or Laura, it was actually Nicola who picked it.
It was Nicola. did she enjoy it then, or has she not yet been able to
She hasn't watched it yet.
No.
What?
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
better listen to it. 69, Chris. Just tell us all about 69.
We're the 10 Point Podcast. You can get us wherever you get podcasts. I'm not listing through them now, but yeah, wherever you find podcasts, we are available for you to listen to on the go and on YouTube, which is a bit harder to watch on the go. But either way, 10 Point Podcast on all your social medias, on the YouTubes, on the
Tell
podcast.
your Amazon device to listen to us as well. She does it straight away.
You can. Is that right? Is it always the last episode? Yeah?
It's always the last episode. I can't say it now because she's listening. She's always listening.
always listening, and it is beginning to freak me out how often something happens.
Tell you a funny story about that. I once farted and she activates.
That's quite a specific sound you must have.
Honestly, God, I was mid-fart and started laughing like that's because it was amazing. It's like, I don't understand that one. I was like, no, you shouldn't.
Oh my goodness. Oh. For more stuff like that, seek out the 10 Point Podcast. That's the sort of level we're working in here. On to what we've been doing in the last week then. What have we been watching in the last week? Chris, you told me you'd seen something, so why didn't you start off?
Well, I had. Well, I blasted through the third season of Sex Education. A great show. And I need to learn how it happens because I need to stop having kids. So yeah, I think it's a great season.
You've had enough practice, surely, Chris. You must know how it works.
He's been doing it wrong all this time.
But I don't.
He realises that none of them kids are actually his.
Yeah. So get watching Sex Education. It's a good series, and I didn't realise this until the other day, but Free Guy was on Disney Plus. They finally did something right.
It was free.
Film on. Exactly. Nice. And I watched it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Andy got a boner for it, but I thought it was really good.
It's just fine. I thought. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just kind of like, ugh, right, okay.
I liked all the cameos and little bits like that, but
full on rager for that 5-minute scene. Oh.
It's been long enough now. It's on Disney Plus now. Is it the bit near the end where they're just like Avengers this and Star Wars that and all that stuff at the end?
I nearly pissed myself laughing at that. Where you just see Chris Evans going, "What the shit?"
Yeah,
yeah. Because you talked about it. That was Andy's high point of cinema. I think
that was the best thing I've ever seen in cinema. Oh, I was crying.
Right, that
was it. So you guys, only film I've watched.
I have not watched a single film since Forrest Gump, but about 2 weeks ago, maybe a bit more, apparently it was Batman Day. And the day I found out it was Batman Day, I started watching the Batman animated series, the early 1990s ones. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast or not. I'm confused now, but I've got volume 1 of it on DVD, so I've been bashing my way through that, and it's amazing watching something that you remember watching when you were younger, but having no recollection of anything that ever happened in it. So I'm watching this all. It's familiar to me, but I remember nothing that's going to happen ever.
I had
But
the game on the Mega Drive for that. It was great.
Mark Hamill at
I've
his
had a bit
best.
of the Chris syndrome, which is I watch it too late at night, so I end up falling asleep halfway into like the last episode and waking up and thinking I have no idea what happened at the end of that episode. So I end up half an episode behind every time because I have to finish what I watched. But yeah, it's a bit old to be given a recommendation. But yeah, Batman animated series is incredible.
Don't
Give
worry,
that a watch.
I'll cover you off here. Here we go.
Right, thank you, Andy.
Right, so I went to the cinema, and finally, after 18 months of waiting, I watched the new Bond film. And I'm about
No
to give
Time
you
to Die.
Yeah, I'm about to give you a spoiler-free review of it. It's way
Awesome.
too long and fucking pointless. Like, what the fuck? Absolutely pointless. Shit.
How long is it?
2 hours 45 minutes.
That
And
is long, yeah.
to be fair, I was watching and going, alright, this is pretty good. And like non-spoilers, everything you see in the trailer, probably the first 5 minutes of the film. So I was like, that's pretty good. And then after that first 5 minutes, I'm like, right, you're giving me some information here. I'm interested. And then they give me a bit of action, and it never feels too long. And then I got to the end and went, that was fucking long. It was only when it got to the end did I go, well, that was fucking too long, because the payoff was utterly fucking shit.
Right.
So
okay, it wasn't worth the time you put in.
I didn't think.
Okay.
Everybody else is raving about it. But yeah, everybody else is fucking loving it, but I'm not a fan. However, I do have the best recommendation ever. And this is going to blow people's minds. Squid Games. Netflix's...
I watched that. I fell asleep the last night.
Netflix's Korean...
I've yet to look at it.
Yeah, Korean dubbed. I don't like dubbed. People know I don't like dubbed. I've slagged off dubbed many a time on this show. What a series. I started watching it on Monday. It's 9 episodes, and they're all 1 hour long. I'm on the last episode. I almost had to blow off this podcast to watch the final episode because I'm not hooked. It's so good. I told Sean to watch it, and I'd already watched another episode. Then he just ran on a message me going, "This is the shit. This is amazing." So instantly he put it on, started watching it. He's hooked as well. What a show! So Squid Games.
He was saying that you messaged him saying how good is it? He's like, I've only been watching it for 20 minutes. Give me a chance to watch it. You just telling me.
Is it one of these? Is there a premise to it, or is it better to go in not knowing what the hell?
If you go on Netflix, basically it's like a group of people that go in and play kids games with a difference, and
yeah,
it's a drama though, isn't it? It's not like a reality show or anything. Is it?
It's not a reality show. It's like a kind of drama thriller. Like you don't.
I hope it's not a reality show.
If it's reality, fuck me, the Koreans have upped the level. Like it's basically it's kind of like Purge, but as a game show. Okay. And
I'd say it's like a battle royale.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
But with kids games.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just went in thinking, this is just gonna be bloody and gory. It's not. It's amazingly done. Good TV. Watch it.
Awesome. Well, there you go.
Don't watch Bond. Watch Squid Games. Daniel Craig let himself down. Go watch Logan Lucky. That's where you want to be at.
Logan Lucky, now our second best film we've ever done, unfortunately knocked off its perch. Anyway, we better crack on. And we better start with point number 1 on the podcast. Point number 1, what is the point? The point of the podcast this week, the 2006 horror mystery Silent Hill, brought to us by TriStar Pictures, who have given us District 9, Starship Troopers, The Running Man, Look Who's Talking, and Idle Hands. And Davis Films that we have used once before, and that was the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Hey! Knew you were
start.
Knew there was something up with this film.
Yeah. The first ever 1 point movie, I think it was. There's maybe more, but yeah, the first one.
I apologise again for that one. My bad.
I think that was my worst experience watching something on the podcast. Is still that.
The room wasn't far behind.
Silent Hill, based on the Konami video game series originally made for PlayStation. I originally had just based on the game, but I believe it's actually based on either the first 2 or 3 of them. One way or another went to the film, what I could find out. The film, written by Roger Avery, who, out of nowhere, has actually been involved in some big stuff. The first important writing credit was writing background radio dialogue for Reservoir Dogs. So, as in when they put the radio on in the scenes where they're chopping off ears and all that sort of stuff, he wrote that. He wrote a film called Killing Zoe, and followed it up by writing Pulp Fiction, essentially. He was credited as stories by Roger Avary on Pulp Fiction. So he got a co-writing credit with Quentin Tarantino and won an Oscar for writing Pulp Fiction. He then followed it up with not much in the way of anything successful. The Rules of Attraction, then Silent Hill, Beowulf, the one that came out not too long ago, and a film called Lucky Day. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else really jumps out as being massive that he wrote. But yeah, it was just weird having 2 Tarantino movies in his writing credits. Silent Hill, directed by Christoph
He's
Gans.
the actual brains behind it.
Yeah, maybe. Christoph Gans, a French filmmaker who only ever directed, I think, 6 things, and these are near enough all of them. Something called Crying Freeman was his first one, Brotherhood of the Wolf, then Silent Hill, Beauty and the Beast, which was a French thing that a French version that he did, starring your big French actors, I should say. He directed all of them, and some part wrote all of them. There you go. And that's the main writer guy. And on our credits, our acting credits here, I've also written part of my notes in the wrong place, which I will now adjust. Our main star for Silent Hill, Radha Mitchell, is our main star. Her big things were 60 episodes of Neighbours, which I didn't realise she was Australian. I don't know. I'm assuming she's Australian because it's hard to not be Australian and be in Neighbours and vice versa.
That's got to be racist.
If you're Australian, yeah.
That's the most racist thing we've said in this podcast.
Well, it's either Neighbours or Home and Away, one of the two.
Yeah. Side, but yeah, she was again. But I see 60 episodes, and I'm like, that's probably a lot. But you think about it, I don't know. They're like 5 episodes a week, so it's not actually that.
She was fired after a
60
month.
episodes. Yeah, it didn't last that long. Probably killed off in some sort of murderous rampage.
I reckon that's one.
Then went on to star in some proper Hollywood stuff. Pitch Black, Phone Booth, Man on Fire, Finding Neverland, and then was in Silent Hill. Followed up Silent Hill with Rogue, and the film The Crazies, which is what I recognise her for. I could not quite place where I've seen her before. She's one of the leads in The Crazies.
Always Pitch Black for me.
That's
I've seen her in.
Then, I did not know it existed until I read her credits. She was in Silent Hill Revelation. Apparently, this film was a sequel I did not know existed at all.
I knew it existed. I've never seen it, so I might go back and watch it to see what it's like. It might come up, might not.
Yeah, so she was in the sequel. The next person I have in the credits is actually Laurie Holden, who is the police officer Sybil Daniels in Silent Hill. The first big credit I could find of her was the TV series Magnificent Seven, obviously based on the film. She was in that. Then she was in Fantastic Four, before being in Silent Hill, and then she was kind of in more famous things beyond Silent Hill. She was in The Mist, then the Shield television show, The Walking Dead, obviously for several seasons, Dumb and Dumber 2, the sequel, then the Americans TV show, and then her last credit that she's apparently known for is The Boys.
The Boys.
I've watched all of The Boys, and I've never seen her. Apparently she's in the 3rd season of The Boys, so
that would explain it.
Laurie Holden as a new character, and apparently she's in the whole of the 3rd season.
There's only been 2. I thought we were going a 4th one.
Right. Only been. And our third person starring in the film, Sean Bean, famous for Shark,
Yorkshire Tea,
across 20-30 years, Yorkshire Tea adverts. Patriot Games, GoldenEye, Ronin, Lord of the Rings, Equilibrium. He was in Troy. He played the character Odysseus. If you want more on him, check out our Old Brother We're Out There episode because he's come up recently. Then Flight Plan, before Silent Hill and its sequel, and then Black Death, Game of Thrones, and then the Snowpiercer television show. Since then. But yes, about 100 other things in there as well. I think he had easily 100 more credits than everybody else that I kind of looked up that was in the film because he's in everything and
the man needs money.
In them. Or he likes it one way or another.
No, I think he needs the money. Yorkshire Tea is not the cheapest of things.
Definitely not. The film, made on a budget of $50 million, opened in the US with $20 million on its first weekend. Final US grossed $47 million, just below its budget. Its worldwide took it to $100 million, so doubling its budget worldwide, but not a massive moneymaker for the studios or whoever else. It was released 21st of April 2006, actually released in the UK before in the US, so that's the UK release date, was 21st of April.
Podcast first.
There's some really random ones, but yeah, it's a rare occurrence. In terms of awards, it qualified for essentially 2006's award season, but that would be after the Oscars. It was neither mentioned at either Oscars or roundabout its release. It only ever got 8 nominations for awards. The film didn't win a single one of them of its 8 nominations. The most high profile was Best Thriller at the Teen Choice Awards. It was nominated for. Other award nominations were 2 for Radha Mitchell, 1 for the sound editing, 1 for special effects, 1 for makeup effects, 1 for its trailer, and 1 for creepiest kid. Horror awards.
Jodelle Ferland is like literally the creepy kid in everything. She is proper creepy.
I have to add that to my nominations that's coming up later.
All I was thinking about, and we'll get into it a bit more deeper, but I was just thinking, I wonder if Chris's kids are like that, because it'd be fucking hilarious.
Yes, well, I'm sure we'll come on to it. I've got a synopsis here. It's the longest one I could find. It's not particularly long. By Jackie V. I don't know if it's the fifth Jackie or not, but Jackie V. After the continuous sleepwalking episodes of Sharon, the young daughter of Rose da Silva, the decision is made to take Sharon to the place only mentioned in her restless dreams, Silent Hill.
Always a good
idea.
idea.
However, the road to Silent Hill is anything but easy to access, and Rose creates a high-speed chase between herself and a police officer. That's very accurate. She did create it. Yeah, there was no need for it. Herself and a police officer only end up in a crash for them both. When she wakes up, Sharon has disappeared, and Rose is at the entrance to the deserted, dreamlike town of Silent Hill. As Rose begins the search for her daughter, she does not realise the terror and mystery surrounding her. Rose is led on a blind search for her beloved daughter, finding herself getting more and more entwined into the disturbing past of Silent Hill. And that's as much of a synopsis as I have. Who selected this week? It was Chris. Chris, other than your theme, which we have not yet guessed, why have you selected Silent Hill?
Well, I thought I'd kick off the Spooktober fest, which we're not sure we're having or not. I don't know.
Spooky Spectacular last year. It was a disaster last year. We all picked fun-friendly films.
Well, Casper was the spookiest of it.
So I thought, well, we'll go extreme this time. Or maybe not extreme, but it's been mentioned, it fit perfectly into my original theme and my current theme. I also forgot about this. It's also very female heavy, like cast wise. So it's not very often I have one of them.
It wasn't until I was researching the games as much that I didn't realise that the main character that I played in the first one for a bit was actually a guy. I always thought it was because of the film, but it's not a female main character in the game either. I'd never seen the film before. I don't recall it close enough having seen it. I was definitely aware of it coming out, but I don't think I've seen it. Andy, I'm sure you've seen it before.
I've seen it. Still don't understand it.
What type? Or just once?
Both.
Or...
I've seen it once, and then I've watched it again. So yeah, this is a twofer, and it's still just like, what the fuck's going on? I'm sure somebody will be able to explain it to me.
I'm sure we'll get on to it, because I've got similar questions. We better start with point 2, or go on to point 2. High points. Chris.
Should we try and get a base of how we thought this film is? Because
I was thinking that. I came into the podcast thinking, I need to know what happened. I did a bit of research to find out for myself what happened, but I want Chris to tell us what happened.
I didn't. So my theory is she's dead and they're in some kind of weird purgatory. Like she died at the car crash.
I don't think that's the case, no.
Well, I was going to bring it up. At the end, it confused me because it all happens and it's still foggy. Yeah, the other guys, it's not foggy, and then there's the other world. There's 3 different levels to it. So
basically, we don't know, Bruce. You have to tell us your research.
Well, what I found out, now I'm thinking about it, didn't actually explain the bit at the end. I'll see if I can do a bit more digging. But yeah, so I got lost. Like, it got to the point, right, she's in a spooky world. She's trying to find her daughter. I'm with you so far. And it's like, that's not her daughter. It's some blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, okay, the demon is now pretending to be her daughter. And I thought, okay, now I'm getting somewhere. And then, she looks like another old girl. The old girl, she must have been a witch or something like that, and that's why she looks like her. Maybe there's some sort of relationship there and all that. So, I'm
confused. Did she create another child just?
So it seems like
her good side.
There was a little girl, and for whatever reason, the townsfolk thought she was a witch
because she didn't have a dad, apparently.
Well, exactly. That's the reason why. We don't know who the father is. Well, we know how these stories go, Jesus and all that. So they decided, we'll burn the witch. So they did burn the witch, but someone went wrong. And then somewhere around there, the burned little girl found a demon. And then it seems like the demon took the shape of the little girl, but at the same time cast out all of the goodness that was left in the burned girl into another little girl. But somehow that little girl is still little in 2000 and whatever, despite the fact she'd been that age in like 1980 or whatever it would have been. And then that's why the little girl's drawn back to the original host, because she is the good part. But then, yeah, I literally had to read that.
We don't know.
If anyone had to say, you can carry on any discussion about what happened at the end here.
Right, well, anyway, I'll start off with a high point. Like, the iconic Silent Hill theme at the start. It did, like, I didn't play much of it, but I can tell that theme a mile away.
See, for me, it was this
the
or Resident
effect.
Evil. And it's like, I went Resident Evil every single time.
I can't remember Resident Evil.
I've seen
But,
that.
like, it had the same effect that Mortal Kombat did. But not quite to that extreme like Mortal Kombat.
Bullshit. You cannot ever say that Silent Hill is up there with the banger of Mortal Kombat song.
No, I'm just saying, like, you used to always say, like, if you watch a video game adaptation, you want to hear that theme.
Oh, you definitely do.
instantly and get you ready.
The Mario
that's what
Brothers
I said,
proved
like,
that
that
was
same
fucked up.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
I
But
enjoyed
it does it straight away.
I enjoyed the music. I don't know the soundtrack to Silent Hill, but just the way the music sounds, I just assumed everything. Oh, that must be a famous bit of music from the game, and that must be a famous music game. Conclusion I found with The Fog, my person who was telling me the story there was that, yeah, they get back and they exist on another plane of existence.
Hi, purgatory.
After having entered Silent Hill. So yeah, you could be right. They may have died in the car crash.
That's what I thought.
want to go and watch the second one to see if it answers any questions.
Yeah.
The sequel.
But I hadn't even thought of that.
explains.
Now I think about the ending, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a bit weird. I'm not really sure what was going on. But then that plays into something later that I want to talk about. But yeah, the whole who is the little girl thing just really threw me at that point. And then you get the whole, I'm now going to tell you the entire story of everything that we've been trying to figure out bit. Helped to an extent, but at the same time it's all like, but why? Why is any of this happening? Why did you do this to the town and all that? But yeah, I really struggled to follow him. My first high point is after the car crash. So I don't know if anyone's got anything before the actual crash as they go into Silent Hill. When she wakes up and it's your classic horror premise of the vulnerable innocent one has disappeared and the other person's got to try and find them. It was a good, she's gone, and then just the look of the thing. I vividly remember it from playing the game. I definitely played the beginning part of the game.
Yeah.
Was what looks like snow, and it's obviously really mysterious and all that. And then walking into the town and the whole thing, and then she finds out that it's Ash, and then things begin to kind of spiral out of control for there. But I very
Fun
much
fact for you: the reason the game did the fog is to hide the limitations of the console. So it's like, yeah, that's the word. So it's a good thing they carried. Like,
I'll tell you what.
mentions like the nods to the game is what I've got on high point as.
My first high point, and it's totally a Chris high point, but I've taken it, is just that cop uniform. No way that was real. That was way too sly.
How's that my high point?
Because I'm putting that high point in your mouth.
The cop is not even mentioned in my high points.
Yeah, not once on mine.
She was awful.
I just immediately, I was like T1000 when I saw her.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I was getting. It's like, you're a hot T1000. What's going on here?
It's like Terminator 2 plus Terminator 3 for the baddies. Kind of
yeah.
Thing. It's like that. And yeah, like I like that. My next one is the world turning into the, I don't know what you would call it, the dark world.
I quite like that. It still holds up for
like
special
siren.
effects. Yeah,
like that siren when it goes out, it sends the shits right up you.
Yeah.
If I heard that in real life, I might just like.
It was so fucking loud on my TV.
I'm
especially because you don't actually know what it means.
Yeah,
it's like that's a proper scary thing. Like you're in this completely deserted town that essentially she actually knows nothing about when she first goes there. She just knows it's a place.
Also,
yeah,
a bad plan.
You hear an air raid siren. You're like, what does that mean? That could mean anything at all. But yeah, and then it starts to go, which, yeah, the CGI computer, whatever it is, because it's a computer game, it kind of gives it its own look, I think. It looks like the game, which helps it a bit. It doesn't look fantastic.
There was a lot of shots that they did to try to copy the game, like when they fly over, like in the scenes, and sometimes it looks like it's first person.
Yeah.
And then there's more bits that they've taken straight from the game, like that first time the darkness rises, the guy on the fence.
Yeah.
And then the little creepy babies. And then her passing out and waking up in the diner. It all happens in the game.
Creepy babies.
There's
That's
the
actually
bit
my
where-
first high point. My first high point is actually all the bad dudes, like all the creepy creatures.
Yeah. They the makeup, like it got awarded for it. It was top notch. Like most of them are people. There's like some CGI. It's like a lot of babies. With
I was saying to Bruce before the
It's
podcast, the nurses
awesome.
behind me, like them when we started doing like conventions and when this film came out, fucking hell, people just walking around as creepy nurses with their tits out and they're just like, they come up to you and tilt their head. It's really off-putting. Don't know where to look. Because you don't want to look at their face.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, big pyramid head guy was one of my. It's like my third high point is the big pyramid head guy, massive sword. I
Seems
don't know why he
impractical.
had a pyramid on his head. Yeah, like was it a helmet? I'm not sure what it was for. It didn't seem to do anything. It did look like he could remove it.
It's a badass helmet.
I wonder who he was, because well, obviously the janitor / Colin, he got tripled into a weird monster and started chasing people. So he obviously. Once again, pedo thing popped up.
Yeah, of course. I've got a check next to it on my list.
Good.
So,
and an ex-pedo, a reformed pedo comes into this as well.
Oh yeah, that's what he does.
The fact that they introduced the pyramid head guy as here's big villain guy, and he stabs at them in the room, rips the person's clothes and skin off, and then we kind of never see him again.
I know that's. I'm going to talk about it later on, but that's a low point for me. He's only in it for like a minute and a half tops, and he's supposed to be the iconic.
You've kind of alluded to my next high point, and that's the titty skin ripping thing by Pyramid Head Man. What a scene! Did not see that coming.
It's amazing. Like it's something I never thought. Like it's an all timer death for me. I've definitely nominated it later on for best death. But yeah, for to rip off the clothes and you're kind of a bit like, oh, no need for that, and then just the skin to follow immediately after. Oh my god, that's amazing! I've never seen that before. And then for the blood and the skin to like spat, like, you get through at main characters intentionally to be like, yeah. But yeah, definitely.
My last one is the reveal of Alessa in the church, and her like she's slaughtering this all these people, and there's a little cheeky smile. She looks at Rose with splat with blood. She's like, oops.
Well, I'll jump in here because
carries on killing everybody.
That's like my last high point is like we went from titty ripping to then getting killed by barbed wire up a vagina. Like, whoa, it's gruesome. What death?
The gore is quality.
Yeah.
And then the creepy little kid dancing in the blood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're actually spinning around with the blood that's falling down. Is amazing. Yeah. Who at that point, I'm assuming that the demon is the one inside the little girl, and then it's just a woman who's floating above doing it. I'm still not actually sure how the science of it all works. The only high point I've got between where we were and the finale I've got written down, which was the barbed wire everywhere, was the lift bit that I was talking about before, where she's memorizing the route she has to go and all that. Then there's the brief fight. Trying to get her in the elevator, and then that's when I thought the cop had been killed there because it looked very much like she'd been brutalized.
Yeah, she was fucked up.
And then down into the bit with the nurses, which it's a brilliant scene. The one with the nurses,
great sets.
Yeah, except for the fact the only nitpick I would be is she could easily just have walked down the walls past them, but she decided I'm going to go right through the middle of them.
Or do what I would have done: put the torch down and then just walk past them as they all walk towards the light. Because she did that when she got past them. I was like, no, I've got a plan. Put the torch down.
Yeah, now I'm past them. I will point the torch at them and then walk away. Yeah, it seemed like a bit, but I like that kind of 10-minute stretch of her going down the lift and essentially into the ward. I would say, and that's me for high points. I have no others.
Yeah, I'm same.
Cool. On to low points then.
I'll go.
Who wants to kick off low points? Andy, on you go.
Too much running at the start. Like, I've been knackered. Like, just way too much running. It's like, oh, scary alarm, run. Oh, thank fuck, scary alarm's end. Run. It's like, nobody can run that much. No.
At some point, I'd have been like, why would my daughter continue to keep running away from me? Like,
I know.
And I'd be something fishy is going on here.
I'll tell you what.
She goes deeper into scarier places, and I'll be, I don't want to go down there.
Because, right, Chris, let's do a hypothetical. Let's bring an old section back.
Oh, here we go.
Right, Chris. If you're creepiest daughter, you can pick which one. You don't have to tell us. You've got one in your head. Okay. If she decided, Daddy, I keep dreaming about Silent Hill, would you take her to Silent Hill?
I would Google it first. I'd be
Right.
like, okay,
Then you
so
find,
fuck
oh, it's
this,
full of witches
absolutely
and shit
not.
like that. Actually, maybe my daughter's a bit of a nutter. But then you take her to Silent Hill, and then she starts running away from you. At that point, I think I'm like, fuck her. Done. I'm like, fuck going into
I
that
had a
creepy
couple.
village. I've came this far. She's run off. Fuck her.
She was adopted anyway.
I
Let's be
know.
honest.
That's the moment where I'm like, oh my fuck, going into that creepy bathroom place. I'm out.
Yeah, definitely.
No, if you're your actual kid, you would. But if it
Nah.
before I had kids and watched this, I'd be like, fuck this. You can
Nah.
run off. You can play. I'm just
There's
gonna
no
say-
way. There's no way you're running in there. If one of your kids run in, no, I don't believe you, Chris.
I would.
You might get as far as the
Yeah.
first walls changing into blood and shit like that, and then you're out. You're gone. I know you. You're
No,
like, my
no,
daughter's trying to
as soon
fucking
as
kill me
Mermaid
here. I'm
comes
out.
in, I'd be like,
I want to be in his team. Continuing the running scene, I'll go into one of my early low points. She gets arrested, does Rose, and then they find they can't leave. So she decides, while handcuffed, I'll run away from the one other normal human being I found in this town who has a weapon, and I'll just go do what I'm going to do on my own. Like, at that point, thinking, right, she's stuck as well. The worst thing we can do is separate now. If we stick together, that is surely in our best interests. Because I was like, I can't do anything, or she actually proves to be quite successful in her handcuffed state. But yeah, that she just should have stayed with her. And the whole time I was thinking, why are you running away? What good is it that running away? She can help you. That was I just shouting at the television at that point when she was.
And that was after a lot of running just before then as well.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She must have some proper cardio going. My major low point is, for me, there's not enough darkness moments. There's like, especially from Pyramid, like I've said, he's the iconic Silent Hill monster. He's in it, like I said, for less than 2 minutes. And the other ones, it's like, I don't know how it works. Is it like a day, then it goes to the sirens at night, or what? It's just random?
It does seem to be random, yeah. But somehow they know to raise the alarm.
Yeah, the birds. That's when the birds start flocking and going to that one place they can't go.
Right, I would say I missed. Right, because I was wondering what the cue was. I couldn't see it.
And they're always carrying birds around.
I have two major low points that come in. One is me getting completely lost about 2/3 of the way through the film, which we've kind of covered now. But yeah, it loses me. Like, I kind of, all right, she's after her kid, and then, all right, okay, and then I have no idea what's going on now. Oh, here's a little kid to tell me the story. I think I'm as equally as confused now, and the film ends, and then we get the kind of ambiguous ending, so it lost me. But the other major issue I have is, on top of Sean Bean's awful American accent.
Yep, that's my last point. Is
right.
That to Yorkshire, lad. That's the only one you can do.
He struggles to get through what he can do. But why is that in the film? Like, why? There is no need for Sean Bean. Like, fair enough, it's maybe in the game, maybe it's really important, maybe there's the levels that the fans need to see everything in the film, whatever it is. It is everything he learns could be found out in the city, and he never actually even gets there.
Yep.
Like, he does not come even close to getting to Silent Hill. So
he gets to it during. This is what the thing is. There's 3 different levels. There's the level, like the normal world that Sean Bean's in. Then there's the fog world, which is where all the other people are living. I think that's where Alessa's trapped them. And then there's the darkness world, which is all of her hate and thingy, which she brings out to try and kill them, but they all always run and hide into that church where she can't get them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's still foggy because there's somebody she wants to get vengeance on and has.
A reformed paedophile's like, you can't go in there, mate.
Yeah, him. Like, Sean Bean become a criminal just to try and find out about Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Like, break an entry and then try to threaten a nun.
Yeah, well, I feel like he was a bit unfortunate there. I think he was asking reasonable questions. Yeah. He got a bit. I think it was a setup.
Yeah.
I think.
Did you give me a demon child? Answer yes or no, you bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Did you know? And the way she was dodging the question, I'm like, she knew.
Yeah.
She would have sort of said, "What are you talking about?" or no, if it was otherwise. But yeah, you could literally lift that out and put in a couple of explainers here and there, and the film would be, I don't know, it's a wee bit too long, so it takes 15-20 minutes out of it as well, and it maybe makes it more reasonable. But yeah, anytime Sean Bean showed up, also I began to care a bit less every time I saw him as well. I was like, oh. And then, like I say, he never got.
When will you die?
The day. Yeah, and that's the thing, he never died either, which is he does. He's also in the sequel, so I'm assuming he
Is he?
dies there because he's Sean.
Fingers crossed.
I don't know. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Yeah, and that's me for low points. Anyone get any remainders?
No, but the same as well.
Yeah.
I think we better crack on to stats then. Statistics from Silent Hill. Not my best work. I'll say that before we get into it. Shits 4, I believe. Not
And I would have definitely shit myself.
5. So a total of 9 swears, nothing too coarse other than that. But yeah, a wee bit of swearing. The F-bombs all came in a streak. 3 of them were in the same sentence, I think. So they limited them. Explosions. 0. There's some fire. When she ruins people at the end, she generally just kind of splits them apart. It's not an explosion. It's more a case of she goes up and out, or she wraps them and then crushes. And if you crush someone, that's an implosion more than an explosion. So it's just kind of destroys people on explosions. Deaths, a very tough one to gauge. I've got about 15. I don't think she murders the entire lot of them in the church. I think a lot of them get away.
I reckon they're all dead anyway.
So do I. When Dahlia's, her mum's walking through, the blood that she's walking through, that's a lot.
No, I mean, I reckon they were already all dead.
Right,
everybody we meet in the film, except Sean Bean and the policeman, is maybe dead.
Yeah.
Which is a question of how the policeman actually got out when you think about it.
Because he helped Alessa. He was the only one trying to help.
He did. Fair point. Yes, he was allowed to go. But
that's
of course,
what I said. Reformed paedophile.
Rose was helpless, so she should have got alive as well. But yeah, she's in this purgatory sort of world, maybe, we think. Temple Podcast quotas. Was there dead animal? There seemed not to be any dead animals. Animals seem to survive quite unscathed. Normally, this sort of film, the two of them would have a pet in the car with them, and the pet would go first, and then someone's up here. But no animals. No sign of any goats or cows either, which is a strange one. I didn't see any of them anywhere.
I reckon that sacrifice started with a goat.
Could have done. Paedophile, yes, of course. The devil. Could be.
I would say demon, not devil.
The devil.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe not the devil. And the KKK, possibly the KKK, but not in its usual sort of form that we find. It might have been, because I didn't see a lot of black folks in that church, I'll tell you that much. And they were all talking about sacrificing people and setting fire to things, burning people and all that.
It was West Virginia.
No KKK. Exactly. Which is that where Forrest Gump was? I feel like Forrest Gump was somewhere near there as well.
He was Alabama.
Alabama, there we go. So because it's Silent Hill, I counted how many silences there were. There were 14 silences. That's when when the film reached the point where there was no sound effects, no music, no nothing. It happened 14 times.
Get a little decibel counter out.
No silence.
Most of the headphones on, so it helped. And how many hills there were? I think 10.
Counting the mountain.
The mountain hills.
There's probably about 10 of them on the way there. But once we get to Silent Hill, it's all very much city and town scapes. So yeah, 10 hills, I think. Did they say the thing? Did they say Silent Hill?
Loads of times.
A minimum of 5. The first one was 2.5 minutes into it. There's a proper trailer-worthy Silent Hill early on. Went about 2.5 minutes in, and then I kind of forgot to keep counting it. So probably more than 5, but there definitely are 5. Chris, any stats from you?
I was going to count Sharon's because she says it a lot, but I got bored halfway, fell asleep. I wasn't going to go back to do it again. The only one I actually counted was the darkness only came 4 times.
Right, there you go.
And that was it.
So do we think it's 4 days, or is it? Well, of course, it could be 8.
See, that's what I thought. Like it'd go over. It'd be like during the day it'd be normal, then at night time it'd be the darkness. But it seems to be random whenever Lesser wants it to be.
Yeah, I feel like no one ever sat down and had a wee snack or anything like that. There was very little in the way of sleeping and all that stuff.
She needs some carbs to sort out her cardio because she was running non-stop.
Yeah. So yeah, it might not have been as long as that, but yeah. Most pornographic scene for you. Good luck.
I struggled. Not gonna lie. There wasn't much pornographic shit in this. There was no food, so I'm pretty much gonna have to give it to Laurie Holden's cop uniform. It was the only thing that didn't disturb me too much.
I'm thinking the way
the sexy nurse before she starts to cry.
I was thinking the way that the big pyramid man's knife goes in the door was quite.
Oh, I was like butter.
I thought.
Yeah. Wiggling around, trying to find a slot.
Yeah. And then, of course, you don't count shits anymore, but that cubicle that fell.
There's a lot of shits in there.
Yeah, there's bound to be one in there.
I think so, yeah. On to point 5 then, the 10-point podcast quiz, which is not as grand a quiz as
Chris wins.
It's a bit complicated. Like he might do. This is a bit of a shambles here. So I don't know who to start with. I don't know if it's an easy or a difficult here. Anyway, who wants to go first? I don't
I'll
know
go
what.
first. I think Andy went first last time.
Right, good luck to you. Chris, what animal did Sharon draw while sitting under a tree at the beginning of the film?
Oh, lie.
It was a lion. And then I thought you got a lion, and then they started meowing at each other. There we go. So 1 point to Chris. That might be the easiest question. I'm not sure. Andy, what website, either the address or its title,
Pornhub.
what website does Christopher find on Rosie's laptop? At the
Pornhub.
beginning of the film? What is she? It wasn't. No. Chris, are you aware what it was?
I don't know, like hauntedsites.com or something like that.
Ghosttownsamerica.web or the website. The Ghost Towns of America is what she was Googling or
Definitely
looking up.
Pornhub on another tab. You can see it.
Yeah. Chris, what is the name of the elementary school in Silent Hill?
Silent Hill Elementary School?
Unfortunately not. It's called Midwich.
Hey.
Since watching the film, that is the name of the town in the film Village of the Damned, an old 60s horror film with, I'm assuming, zombies in it and all that. So, Midwich Elementary School. Andy, second question. How is Christabella, that's the villain, if you remember, how is she related to Alessa? That's the girl from the olden times who was burned. How are they related?
Grandmother.
Oh, unfortunately. Aunt and niece is what they were. I'm not sure if it was actually stated in the film, but I found it mentioned several times in my research.
Well, she mentions that Dahlia's her sister.
Right, there you go. So that would explain it. Still 1-0. So, Chris, if you get this right, you win. Chris, I'll change this a little bit since we've said our names so often. I also wrote this quiz as we watched it. What is the surname of... I've got the little girl who looks like Sharon, but I now know her to be called Alessa. What is Alessa's surname?
Gillespie.
It's Gillespie.
He's got some
Solid.
retard
Wins
mind.
the quiz. He does, yeah. Andy, your final question was, which room in the Grand Hotel is significant? I'm looking for the number of the room here.
The porno room where the VHSs are.
Oh, yeah.
111.
That's the answer, yes. Room 111. It's like a cupboard that leads to outside and then another building, which was a strange
I'm still saying the
setup
porno
for it
room.
to be. Yeah.
It's where the nurses go
Tiebreaker.
after the work.
Chris's autistic mind gets this one here. On what date did Alessa Gillespie's original kidnapping occur?
Fuck those. September 6th, 1984.
Oh, so close. The 1st of November 1974.
I was going to say, if he got that, I was calling bullshit.
Yeah, I sent him the quiz earlier on. A win for Chris, and that's probably the poorest quiz we're going to have.
I don't know.
A lot of poor ones when that did it, so
very,
I guess it's just a struggle.
Yeah.
Don't worry, next season the Master's coming back. Hotter or colder's coming back. Round 2.
Oh, God.
Are you taller than Peter Dinklage?
Dinkier than Dinklage. The return of Dinklage than Dinklage.
The man who makes quizzes but via title first and then work out the format. That would usually win. Okay, point 6 on the podcast. Movies within movies. Other references I found. Terminator 2 immediately as soon as I saw her. Schindler's List, because the snow in that film turns out to be ash as well. A little link there. Alien, because the baddies bleed acid at some point. Village of the Damned I mentioned. The Last Man on Earth and The Omega Man are both playing at the cinema in like the real world version of Silent Hill. They're the double bill at the cinema. The Shining, because the hotel takes massive chunks of The Shining out to fill in there. The Exorcist, obviously, because they're exercising the little girl. And Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, that was the invisible bridge at the end. It reminds me of the bit where that way you can see it. So, are we to believe that bridge had always been there? Like, if they just driven off in the car at the beginning, would they have just fallen to their deaths, or would they have...
I don't know. I still believe they're in purgatory. They can only get there when purgatory lets them.
Good point. So, yeah, either way, I thought that was quite an interesting bit. Never not good. The thing in this film that is never not good is the sound of an air raid siren. Always hits the spot. It's a satisfying sound. I love it. Chris, movies within movies.
Slutty nurses, you got to add that in.
Touched
Never not good.
Yeah, a reformed paedophile makes a return. Kim Coates.
I guess Coates, I would say.
Coates.
Kim Coates was a crazy guy in the Waterworld.
Paper.
Kim Coates, brackets, brackets detective was in Waterworld brackets pedo.
That's how I do it. Like, he's a pedo in that film. That's going to come up. Alice Krug.
Creed.
Yeah.
I don't know what her name is. She was the crazy cult leader. She was Christian Bale's mum in Rain of Fire.
Right.
I thought that was it until I started digging. Sharon, the creepy girl, was a creepy girl in Cabin in the Woods.
She was. She was one of the zombie redneck torture family in Cabin in the Woods. Was Jodelle Ferland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go through everybody because there's a lot of people I've missed. Two more.
Oh no!
Right, I'll go. One is impossible. Carrie Eklund played one of the dark nurses I've seen behind Andy.
Yeah.
She was one of the witches in The Witch.
Hey.
So the coven of witches that our main character joins at the end. She was one of them. One that actually made me react and have to have a proper look. Nikki Guadagni plays distressed woman. I don't know who that was in this, but that's who she was.
That's everybody practically.
Exactly. She was Aunt Helene in Ready or Not, as in the crazy auntie in Ready or Not. Like, we must follow the rules. She was in this film somewhere, which was out of nowhere. But yeah, just the 5, I think, Chris, I could find. But yeah, well, I knew there had to be the witch had to be in there somewhere. But yeah, there was one of the nurses, the witch. And then recasting us, Chris.
Oh right, yeah, I forgot about that.
Here we go.
Because it's mostly female cast, I had to go a little bit different. Unless one of you wanted to be Colin or the pedo or a pyramid head. So I put myself as Rose because I can play with my kids quite a lot, but I would do anything for them.
Right,
yeah. Andy is Sybil the cop. I don't know why.
I was totally not.
I'd
believe in you. I'd be like, nah, fuck that. I'd be the worst cop ever. I'd be like, nah, fuck it.
Like, Bruce, going by your recent KKK affiliations, I can see you as a leader of a cult.
Yeah,
right, okay.
There's Christabel.
I'll take it. Yeah, I went a very different route, and I thought, right, what I'd like to see is this film, but instead of Jodelle Ferland playing 3 roles, how about the 3 of us play a role? So I've got Chris is in the role of Sharon, running away and all that sort of stuff. I'll be Alessa, as in the old one, essentially. But Chris, you have to be Chris. Andy, you have to be the demon.
Yep, I'll take it.
Comes to the, I can imagine the 3 of us in there. But yeah, it seems to be the only one. Like you say, everyone's a female in it, so I had to go a bit of a strange route. Andy, are you recasting anybody else in the film?
Right. This recasting would literally make this film 1,000 times better. You take Sean Bean's character out and put any one of his other characters in where he dies. Problem solved.
I see. So who would you? Would it be Boromir? Are we looking at
yeah, Boromir if you want. Yeah, Boromir's fine.
No, I'd put Ned Stark.
Ned Stark. Yeah, he's fine.
Pyramid Head.
I like the idea of Alex Trevelyan from Goldeneye.
Yeah.
Because he'd find a way. He'd be a better guy in there to try and kind of.
Or even in the Equalizer, just him having dead. Pretty much any film, he dies. He dies. One thing you're going to get with Sean Bean is he's going to die, and he's let us down in this film.
Get that. -1 point.
Payoff has got to be in the sequel.
It's got to be in the sequel. Yeah. He's got to have an epic death.
It'll probably be. I bet it's one of those ones where I don't want to come back.
5 minutes.
We'll kill you off in the first. Right, okay then. Right, point 7 then. Andy's trigger warning.
Right.
This is. I'm not sure who's going with this one, but yeah.
Anyway.
Right. Okay. We need to take one group of people out because it kind of null and voids my whole trigger warning. However, forget that group. Whatever happened to just good old fashioned cults?
Cultism. Yeah.
Like not the bad ones. Like it comes up in this podcast all the time. Fuck them. They're dicks. But good old fashioned ones, like that woman from Smallville. Like, she had a weird sex cult. Like, and then got arrested for it because she was, like...
Breaking laws and all that,
yeah, if she came up to me and went, do you want to join my sex cult? I'd be like, all right. Why wouldn't you?
You make a strong case.
Yeah, I was like, are you in it? Yes, I'm the leader. I'm in. Like, that's all she did wrong. I don't actually know the court case. However, I'm just like, she probably is.
It could be a lot worse than what you make
it could be a lot worse. However,
or something like that.
However, in my head, that is literally how her cult works. But whatever happened to these nutters that would buy a bit of land in America, make a big barn, keep themselves to themselves, not interfere with anybody, build a spaceship out of tinfoil, waiting for their messiah to come, then all drink poison and kill themselves? Like, What happened to a good old-fashioned cult?
The only one that came to my mind when I was
They'll
watching
die.
this was Ass Blasters from Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Just random people just making them eat shit and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember
Sultan.
That was a cult.
yeah.
Sultan.
Do you remember, like, cults were everywhere? They were just good, and they've got a bad rep these days. Like, they started off in dark terms, because I'm thinking Illuminati, KKK, they're a bit bad. Then they got a bit fun, and now it's all weird sex trafficking and shit like that. What happened? Where was the fun days of cultism?
Think of?
What?
Well, I guess you do get weird cults where some random guy just decides, I'm going to go, like, and it says live in the woods or something like that, and then take 1,000 people with them, and they just build a little village. And
And they all do it.
I guess they just keep themselves over there. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't go and fucking glue their hand to roads and shit like that. Bunch of fucking insulation Britain bullshit. Like, that's a cult in my liking. They're all bad cults now. They're just not a fun, friendly cult. Even, like, what do you call them?
Veganism's a cult.
It's in the market, I would say.
And they're cunts as well. However, remember the good old Jehovah's Witnesses that used to come round the doors? They never used to harm anybody. Used to always disturb your tea. Yeah. What happened to them? Did the Messiah come and take them away?
They're not allowed to now. They just have to post it to the letterbox because of COVID. They can't talk to you.
But I've not had a person around for ages. I've not seen one in ages.
I couldn't even tell you.
So I
Your
reckon,
big sign on the door saying "fuck off" is probably what scares them away.
it probably does. But I reckon Jehovah's came down in his spaceship and took them all away because they were right.
Maybe. I hadn't thought of that. Maybe it's maybe they all transcended.
All I'm saying is my trigger warning this time is whatever happened to a good old fashioned friendly cult? They've all got bad names now.
And speaking of which, if you want to donate to the podcast, check out our website. Donate button on there.
And you can become part of our cult.
Yeah, the 10-point podcast cult. We're starting one up.
We will offend anybody. Doesn't matter what your race or religion is, we'll offend you.
Point 8 on the podcast, nominations. Nominations for the Pointy Awards. We are halfway through the season, so we're halfway towards getting to the Pointy Awards. Does anyone have a lot or a little, or want to go first or go last?
I've got about 5 or 6. I'll don't mind going first.
There you go, Chris.
So my best death, is I'll dabble. I like to dabble. It is tight between Anna getting her skin ripped off by the Pyramid Head and the cult leader, for lack of a better word, getting violated by the barbed wire.
If I had to pick between them,
the cult leader.
I'm going for titty ripping.
Same. I'm with Andy.
Skin ripped off. One.
Skin ripped off one.
It was good. They
were both good. They were both good deaths.
Before, but
both worthy winners. But if we have to take one when Bruce listens to these back, titty ripping.
Yep, there we go. The other one was that's a good way for a villain to die. Like, that is the worst death possible.
I've never felt more happy. I say this a lot of things, but I never felt more really happy at somebody getting killed because she was for lack of a better word, a cunt. So
yay! Crystal, one and only C-bomb. I can't say another one now. I think we're allowed one a podcast before we get shut down on YouTube.
My best song. Sorry, on you go. I'm sure one of us. You said it before, near the start.
It's fine. The kids will love
it. My best song is the Silent Hill themes at the start. Okay.
It's like that. Ring of Fire at one point, please.
Yes, it does. Ring of Fire is a banger.
Song in the film. So yeah, Ring of Fire. It also kind of half explains what's happening in the film as well when you think about it. So I thought it was good.
My best bad guy is Pyramid Head. My best cop is Sybil because she's one of 2 cops, and she can take a fucking beating, like was mentioned before.
Because she's a hybrid of T-1000.
Yeah, it took her getting set on fire to get rid of her, so that's a proper cop.
And I don't think you would cook at that height. Like, I know my barbecuing. Too high. She
is that not the flame? Like, the top of the flame is the hottest point. Like, that bit in between, is that not the hottest point?
It is, but she was still too high. Aye.
Yeah, the ladder didn't move past 45 degrees, and she was dying.
She would have
proper skin. It was slowly, her skin started to.
No, she would have died of asphyxiation before she got cooked. She wouldn't be able to breathe because the air would have been too hot.
I don't care.
Yeah. The whole thing. That's it. It's fallen down now. It doesn't make any sense.
doesn't make
film. You've ruined it with Sybil's death now. I can't make any sense of it. My worst plan is burning a child because you don't know who her dad is.
Good point.
Just because you don't know who her dad is doesn't mean she's a witch. And my Michael Pena award goes to the little girl explaining why Alessa is the way she is.
Demon Girl, Michael Pena, definitely a nominee, a leading contender, I would say.
I feel like there should be more, but I haven't got any more.
Right, I'll lead off. I'll bridge yours to mine, Chris, by saying I'm surprised you haven't nominated any best fashion item, best costume, anything like that.
Yeah, fuck. I'll go for Pyramid Heads.
So I've got written down next to best fashion item brackets. Chris will nominate the nurses' outfits, is what I've got written down.
See, I'm not a creepy bastard like you make it out.
Right. Okay. I'll take that away.
But I do like Pyramid Head's head. It's quite cool.
I've nominated Pyramid Head's head for best inanimate object. I've got Pyramid Head because I believe it is inanimate and it comes off. Worst cop has to be Gucci, which is the detective guy from Waterworld. He was like intentionally not helping. Got done best death. I haven't actually mentioned her so far. Worst accent, Sean Bean. Worst accent. But I've got worst acting, Laurie Holden, because before she took her helmet off and I realised who she was, I was like, who the hell is this person? Stinking up every line that she says. She gets better as it goes on because she actually has less to say and it's a bit more action. But in the early going where she has stuff to say and be like, I'm a cop stuff, it is awful. So I'll nominate her, but it didn't really come up too much conversation. So
I thought she was going to be our first female pedo. Like, she was like fixated on that kid when she was looking in the car, like, oh, kid, I'm going over there.
Strangely interested in them before they'd done anything wrong.
I was because she was like whinging out, like, who did that, Mary? And she's like, oh, this is somebody run away with a kid.
Of course, and she had the flashbacks of saving Jimmy down the well, whatever it was. I've got most underused Sean Bean because his whole thing was pointless. But I still think they could have given him a better thing to do. I think he didn't really get used.
If he had his normal accent, then yeah, but that American accent just ruined it for me. I just couldn't listen to him.
It's also because I'm guessing he's in the games, but the kid was adopted. So really, he just could have been an English guy who had moved over to America and adopted a kid. Like there was no reason.
I can't remember what the guy's called in the games.
Is he called Christopher?
I don't think so. Yeah. I don't even think it's De Silva's.
Yeah, they don't look like the two of them don't look like a De Silva. I don't know which one. I don't know if it's he's taking her name or she's taking his name. Either way, these don't look like a De Silva to me. And I think that best plan, memorizing the map to get to where she was going before she was.
I was going after the first turn. Like, oh shit, what was?
I would be like,
but I think,
fucked.
I think Chris has picked off the other ones that I wanted to do as well. So Andy, is there any remainers that you want to nominate?
Since we mentioned it before, I'll nominate our creepy kid award, Jodelle Ferland. She's good at everything she does like that.
Sure.
I do normally get annoyed by kids, as in there's a most annoying kid nomination. Like,
there was a phase when this film came out, she was in everything, because like she's in Stargate as well. She's obviously in Twilight as a creepy kid. She's literally in everything. I don't think she's in anything now. She's too old.
She was in something, I think. So carry on.
But so they've got that. Worst plan: following your adopted kid into Silent Hill and taking them there. I'd have just left them because fuck that shit. Best costumes: I would say all the bad guys, like the Nurses, Pyramid Head. They're all equally as good.
Yeah, they were.
And best sets: I'm going to say the hotel at the end. It seemed like they built a lot of that hotel for a very short scene.
Yeah, it wasn't actually in it that much. Yeah, can't argue with any of those. And I can't find anything that she was in The Little Girl, so I must have confused her with someone else. But yeah, a lot of nominations there. We'll find out at the Pointy Awards how they get on. On to point 9, the moral of the story. What we thought the lessons to be learned from the film were. I'll go first. Don't adopt.
Hey. What a moral.
I wanted to adopt. Don't listen to Bruce. No, they won't all be.
I'll clean it up because I was kind of going down the same route as Bruce. If your kid's having nightmares and wants to like go somewhere, no. Answer's always no.
No. Tell it. Stop being so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, your kid's having nightmares. Oh, I want to go to Alton Towers. No.
Well, that's fine. But if they're waking up, like going to jump off a fucking bridge, going Silent Hill, Silent Hill, don't take them there. It's probably a bad idea.
Maybe she's having bad dreams about, like, oh, let's go to Alton Towers. I want to go to Nemesis. No. You're going to turn it into a bad situation. I don't want to go.
Yes, that is probably, yeah, pretty much. If you even Disneyland now, Chris, it now makes sense. The way you've said it, the answer is no. No means no. That's my moral of the story.
I will go there and I'll test it out first. My moral is quite a simple one. Cults are the worst.
Well, I don't know.
I think-
That sex cult sounded like a good idea. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't go
If
for
Ryan
it.
Reynolds came up to me and went, "Do you want to join my sex club?" I'd be like, all right.
Spit take.
Yeah, okay, Ryan, just for you. I'll do your sex cult.
Will there be gin there?
Do with me what you want.
I'm sure there'll be a catch, and all these cults always have a catch. However, the first line, all right, okay.
You just walked up to you and be like, before you say anything, I'm in.
For you, man.
Whatever we're doing, I'm in.
Have we already burned through one? Have you given your moral yet, Andy? I know you can.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just no means no.
No means no. Okay. On to point 10 then. 10-point rating. What we rate the movie out of 10. Chris, you selected it. You get to go first.
Yeah, well, I was like most like game adaptations, like they've tried to put their own spin in it, but I didn't know enough about the game to like notice any differences. It does leave a lot of unanswered questions, like the whole why is it still foggy when they go to the end and blah blah blah. But I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a good like thriller, so I'm going to give it a 7.
A 7 from Chris. Andy, you've seen it before, so I've got you to go next.
I've seen it a couple of times. I normally like a good confusing film. I don't know what's going on. I'm kind of like Chris. I've never really played the games. I was a more Resident Evil person, so it probably helped this film for me because I had still no idea what the fuck's going on. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed what was on screen. Don't understand what the fuck's going on, so it can only get 4.
A 4 from Andy. I was kind of the same. I was like, I didn't have a lot of low points as I was going through. Like nothing was jumping at the that's awful or that's awful. But the whole Sean Bean's kind of at the third of the film dragging it down. I was like, I don't need this. And then once I got lost, I was like, I don't really know what was happening.
I'm going to put it down to a 6 because you mentioned Sean Bean again, and Sean Bean does piss me off.
Oh,
Like, film.
podcast
so
history.
6.
And I meant the final score was not in yet, so Chris could change. That's allowed. But yeah, having got completely lost about 10 minutes for the end of the film, I can only give it a 3. I was knocked down from about a 4 or 5 to a 3 because I got lost. Unfortunately, so that gives that. I think the official 10-point podcast rating is a 4 out of 10 for Silent Hill.
Fuck! I changed my mind. It's a 7.
No, too late. It's final score.
It
In fact,
doesn't bother me that much.
it would have gone up, but nah, tough. It's a 4. A 4 out of 10 for Silent Hill. Not the best. Andy, that is Chris's third film in his theme, which were District 9, Howard the Duck, and Silent Hill. Did you have guesses what links those 3 films?
Bell End Kids.
I will say you can also add in. Now you can add in Street Fighter. You can add in Jaws because that was going to be one of my picks. So yeah, you can include them in it.
Well, I had 2 guesses.
Kids is now in the
They might change. They might change now because you've added in those ones. It's not video games. So I think I've already guessed that before. My 2 guesses. One, I had Things from Above because the alien spaceship, Howard the Duck, and then it was kind of snowing or ashing. So that was my 3 guesses. I'm assuming it's not that. It doesn't really hold up. My main one, not sure. Car crashes. That's what I had. No, because obviously there's a car crash in this. Howard the Duck, they're in that car chase in the end. And then District 9, at one point they drive like a Jeep thing into District 9 and wreak havoc. But again, I'm assuming it's not that.
I have no idea.
I will tell you all the things that you could include this season. Can't do that one. Can't do that one. Can't do that one. So Howard the Duck, Street Fighter, Jaws, District 9. No, I won't include Honey and Shrunk the Kids. Sorry. So those films you can include.
Titties.
Are they films you'd seen before?
I don't know. This could be a hard one.
All the way.
Yeah, that's quite difficult because there's not much that jumps out. Animals?
No.
Anyway, okay, I think we're out of guesses.
I'll tell you at the end of the season if you don't get it.
Oh, thank you.
Good.
I'm not going to do what Andy's going to do. Carry on forever until you eventually.
What a theme, though. What a theme mine's is. Expendables. We've got all that to look forward to the rest of the season.
A couple of you can always let us know. Yeah, exactly. Mine's still hanging there. I've had 2 before. So
I think we're about to be helped on.
I've done Jaws. Was it Jaws? I know, brother, we're up now. And then my third one is the next pick. Is a good link onwards. I've had to change it a bit. I had one lined up for spooky time here, but I'm not going to follow up Chris's one with my one, so I've changed my mind. It's still a bit scary, still a bit spooky. It's the 1990s, which always goes down well. It's Tremors.
Ooh.
Oh, I was on TV the other night. I watched a bit of that.
There you go.
I love watching bits of films.
It's the one up. I'm a bit uneasy with my link. I need to watch it again to confirm it. So don't go.
I have an inkling. I'm going to wait until next week to have a guess.
Tremors,
is it bacon? Is it 7 degrees of bacon?
It's like, my entire thing is to Kevin Bacon at the end. Tremors, which I've definitely seen a couple of times, and it's a bit of a cult favourite for me. So I'm assuming
I think the third one's my favourite because it's got a thing in it called ass blasters.
Right, well, there we go. And on that note, Tremors is the next pick. I believe it's on Netflix, and it might be on Amazon as well.
It's on all the Amazon have got every single one of them.
There you go. So you'll find it easily enough, and come back to us in a week's time on the 10 Point Podcast.